3 stages of dementia in the elderly you need to know to prevent. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you misplaced your keys or walked into a room and forgot what you were looking for? Did you brush it off with a laugh and say, "Ah, I'm just getting old"? You're not alone. I hear this almost every day in my office. And as a health professional, I want to tell you something that most people don't realize until it's too late. Not every forgetful moment is just aging, and not every stage of dementia means the end of who you are. You see, our minds are the sacred library of our life. They hold the laughter of our children, the stories we told around the dinner table, the songs we used to sing in the car. So when memory starts to fade, it doesn't just affect your health, it can feel like your very identity is slipping away. But here's the truth I need you to hear. Dementia is not a switch. It's a slow-moving storm. And the earlier we see the clouds, the better chance we have of protecting the mind you've spent a lifetime building. That's why I created this video, not to scare you, not to give you another reason to worry, but to give you clarity, comfort, and most importantly, control. In this video, we're going to walk through the 3 stages of dementia. But more than that, I'm going to help you understand what they actually mean. I'll share real stories from real people. I'll point out the signs that most overlook, and I'll give you simple, practical steps you can take, starting today, to guard the gift of your memory. So, before we begin, I want you to pause for just a moment. Check in with yourself. How have you been feeling lately? Do you ever forget words mid-sentence? Struggle to recall someone's name? Do you ever feel confused or foggy and you just chalk it up to age? Because if you do, please know this: there is no shame in it. But there is something you can do about it. This is a journey of awareness, compassion, and hope. And I'll be right here with you, step by step. So let's take that first step together and learn how to recognize, respond to, and even prevent the 3 stages of dementia. Let's begin. Part 1. Mild cognitive impairment. The whispers before the storm. Let's start with something that might sound familiar. Have you ever walked into a room and just stood there, unable to remember why you're there? Or perhaps you've forgotten a word in the middle of a conversation. Just a fleeting moment, but enough to make you pause. You might laugh it off, telling yourself, "It's just part of getting older." But here's the thing. While some forgetfulness is natural, when these moments start to happen more often, they might be your brain sending you an early warning. This is what doctors call mild cognitive impairment, or MCI for short. MCI is like a whisper from your brain, quietly signaling that something isn't quite right. It's not full-blown dementia, but it's more than just the occasional senior moment. It's a stage where your memory lapses start to affect your daily life, but not so much that you lose independence. Yet, if we don't listen to those whispers and make changes, MCI can gradually develop into something more serious. Let me share a story with you, one that's all too common. Take Mr. John, for example, a retired engineer who prided himself on his sharp mind. He'd always been the one who remembered everything, from names to dates to obscure details from decades ago. But over the past year, something started to change. He forgot his granddaughter's birthday, something he would never have done in the past. He mislaid his keys, then forgot where he'd placed them for hours. And the most unsettling moment came when he couldn't remember the name of his old college roommate, someone he had spoken with just a few weeks ago. At first, Mr. John brushed it off as stress or just age creeping in. After all, he'd always been busy, but slowly, those little lapses started to pile up. And that's when his family began to worry. They could see the change, even if Mr. John didn't want to admit it. Now, imagine this. What if someone had spoken to Mr. John earlier? What if he had known that these small, forgetful moments could be a sign of something bigger? The good news is, you don't have to wait for things to get worse. If you catch it early, MCI can often be managed or even reversed in some cases, with lifestyle changes and proactive health measures. So what should you be watching for? Mild cognitive impairment doesn't hit like a thunderclap. It sneaks up on you, like a quiet storm on the horizon. Here are some early signs to keep an eye out for. Forgetting names or appointments more frequently than usual. You might find yourself thinking, I know this person's face, but why can't I remember their name? Difficulty recalling recent conversations or events. This could be forgetting a phone call you had just yesterday, or a conversation you had with a friend earlier in the week. Misplacing things often. If you've started to find your glasses in places you wouldn't normally put them, or leaving your phone in the fridge, it's worth noting. Having trouble with complex tasks. You might feel overwhelmed when you try to do things that once came naturally, like balancing a checkbook or following a recipe with multiple steps. If any of this sounds familiar, don't panic. These signs are subtle, and they don't automatically mean you're on the path to dementia. But they do point to a stage where intervention can make a huge difference. So, what can you do about it? The answer is simple. Take action now. Here's the best part. Prevention is within your control. Studies show that healthy lifestyle choices can slow down the progression of MCI and, in some cases, even reverse it. Stay mentally active. Engage in activities that challenge your brain, like puzzles, reading, or learning a new skill. The more you use your brain, the more it stays sharp. Exercise regularly. Physical activity is one of the best things you can do for your brain. Walking, swimming, or even gentle yoga can increase blood flow to the brain, helping to keep it healthy. Eat brain-boosting foods. Focus on a diet rich in antioxidants, healthy fats, and nutrients. Think leafy greens, fatty fish, and nuts. Stay socially engaged. Connecting with friends, family, or community groups keeps your brain active and helps stave off isolation, which can worsen cognitive decline. Get plenty of sleep. Sleep is your brain's time to repair itself. Aim for 7 to 9 hours each night to allow your brain to rest and rejuvenate. It might feel like small steps, but they add up. If you take them seriously, those whispers of MCI might not turn into a full-blown storm. And remember, you are not alone in this. So, if you've noticed these signs creeping in, don't be afraid to speak up. Talk to your doctor about it. Early detection and lifestyle changes can go a long way in preserving your mind. Now let's take a closer look at the next stage, when the whispers become a little louder and the signs of dementia start to show. Stay with me, because the journey to better brain health doesn't stop here. Part 2. Moderate dementia. When memories slip through the cracks. Imagine you're sitting in your favorite armchair, enjoying a cup of tea. A friend walks in, someone you've known for years. You smile, wave, and start talking about a vacation you took together. Only they look at you with a puzzled expression. They don't remember that trip. You blink. Wait, how could they forget? It was such a special time. But then, you start to feel something tugging at your memory too. The names of places, the faces of friends, the conversations from yesterday. They're slipping through your fingers like sand. This is the reality of moderate dementia. It's the stage when memories start to fade in a way that begins to affect your daily life. You may still remember some things, but the cracks are widening, and you can no longer hold everything together as you once could. It's a difficult stage, and it's even harder when it's someone you love who's going through it. But I want to assure you that this stage, while challenging, is also one of the most important times to act. There are still ways to make life richer, fuller, and more manageable, if we tackle it together. Let me share the story of Mrs. Linda. She was a retired teacher, known in her neighborhood for her bright smile and her love of gardening. Her garden was always in full bloom, and her house was a reflection of her warm personality. She loved to chat with the neighbors, and you could always count on her to know exactly what was going on around town. But lately, things had been different. Linda started forgetting the names of her friends, then her grandchildren. One afternoon, she became upset when she couldn't find her car keys, only to realize she had put them in the refrigerator. Her husband, Mark, noticed the changes, but didn't know how to react. It wasn't just the little things anymore. It was the big ones, too. Linda started calling him by the name of her brother, and sometimes she would forget that he was her husband entirely. When Mark took her to the doctor, the diagnosis was moderate dementia. It wasn't as severe as Alzheimer's, but it was a definite turning point. It was a moment when Linda couldn't just shrug it off any longer. You may see bits of Linda in your own life. Maybe it's you who's starting to notice the changes, or maybe you've noticed it in someone close to you. You can still have moments of clarity, but the fog is thickening. You're aware of it, and it's frightening, because you know something precious is slipping away. So, what can you do when you find yourself in this stage? First, know that it's normal to feel frustrated, angry, or scared. But also know this: it's not too late to make things better. Here are a few things that can help you, or a loved one, during this stage. 1. Create routines that encourage familiarity. People with moderate dementia thrive on routine. The more predictable the day, the more grounded they will feel. This can help reduce confusion, stress, and anxiety. It's as simple as keeping a consistent schedule for meals, medication, and bedtime. If you can, try to make these routines joyful, perhaps by adding a favorite hobby or activity, like an afternoon walk or some time spent with a beloved pet. 2. Use memory aids. When memory starts to slip, it's important to have tools to help keep things organized. A wall calendar with important events, reminders, and family photos can be invaluable. You can even create a memory box filled with small objects that represent key moments in your life. These tangible reminders can help ground you during moments of confusion. 3. Maintain social connections. Social isolation is a major concern in moderate dementia. As memories slip away, it becomes easy to withdraw from others. But maintaining relationships and social connections is essential for mental well-being. Family visits, community events, and even phone calls can make a big difference. If you're caring for someone with dementia, try to keep them involved in conversations, even if they're not always able to participate fully. Simple interactions go a long way. 4. Simplify the environment. Your home is your sanctuary, and making it easier to navigate can reduce confusion. If you're caring for someone with moderate dementia, consider eliminating unnecessary clutter, keeping rooms well lit, and labeling key items, like the fridge, bathroom, or bedroom door. Having things in the right place can make a huge difference in their confidence and sense of control. 5. Be patient with yourself and others. One of the hardest things during this stage is accepting that loved ones may not recognize you or may confuse you with someone else. It's deeply painful, but remember, this isn't intentional. It's the disease, not the person. Patience, understanding, and compassion will go further than you realize. And don't forget to show that same kindness to yourself if you're the one dealing with these changes. You're still you, and your value is not defined by the things you forget. 6. Seek professional help. Moderate dementia can be difficult to manage on your own. It's important to reach out for professional support when you need it. A doctor or a specialist in dementia care can guide you on medication options that may help alleviate symptoms. They can also offer counseling or therapy for both the person with dementia and their caregivers. Don't hesitate to ask for help. The bright side of this stage. While moderate dementia can feel overwhelming, there is still so much that can be done to enrich the life of the person going through it, and of the family members supporting them. Yes, some memories will slip away, but others will remain. And those memories, the ones that matter most, the love, the laughter, the connection, those are the moments that can still be cherished and lived fully. The most important thing during this stage is to stay engaged. Don't let the changes make you feel isolated. Lean on your family, your friends, your community, and most importantly, lean on yourself. You have the strength to weather this storm, and there is a life to be lived, even in the midst of it. And as we move forward, there's one more stage to discuss, a stage that is tougher still, but one that can be faced with hope, dignity, and love. Stay with me, because we're not done yet. Part 3. Severe Dementia. The Long Goodbye. In the final stage of dementia, things begin to change in profound ways. It's a time when memories are almost entirely gone, when routines become difficult to maintain, and when the person you love no longer recognizes the faces they once knew so well. The term severe dementia might feel like a heavy one, but it's important to remember that even in this stage, there is still room for care, comfort, and connection. The road is long, but it's not empty, and the people who journey through it still matter. They still feel love, and they still need love. This is where things start to feel different. Severe dementia takes away many of the abilities that once defined a person's identity. It's the stage when people need assistance with nearly everything. From eating to dressing, from taking a bath to managing their personal needs, each part of life is affected. And yet, there's still a presence, a spark that we must hold on to, no matter how dim it might seem. Let's talk about Mr. Walter. Walter had been the heart of his family, a man who had lived through many things: the Great Depression, war, raising children, and even starting his own business. He had an extraordinary memory for stories, and his grandchildren loved hearing him recount tales of his youth, his adventures, and his wisdom. But over time, his family began to notice the changes. At first, it was subtle. He started forgetting dates and names and misplacing his glasses, things that were easily overlooked. But soon, he didn't recognize his children, and he could no longer remember his wife's name. His once vibrant personality became withdrawn, and he often seemed lost in his own mind. The hardest part was when Walter no longer recognized his daughter, Sarah. She would come to visit, and he'd look at her with confusion in his eyes. Sometimes, he would call her by the name of his sister. He'd smile, but it was no longer the same smile, one that knew her, loved her, had shared a lifetime with her. The change was heartbreaking for Sarah. But through it all, she never stopped being there for him. She continued visiting, holding his hand, sitting with him through the long afternoons. Even though he no longer knew her name, she still showed him love every single day. The reality of severe dementia. Severe dementia doesn't just affect the person with the condition. It deeply affects everyone around them. Family members and caregivers often face emotional and physical exhaustion. It can be overwhelming to watch someone who was once so capable become completely dependent on others. It can be frustrating when you can no longer have meaningful conversations, when the person you care about can no longer remember the life you shared together. But there is still room for connection, even in this final stage. Love doesn't disappear. It's simply expressed in new ways. At this stage, the focus of care changes. It's no longer about trying to fix things or reverse the decline. Instead, it's about creating an environment where comfort, dignity, and peace can still be experienced. Quality of life can still be enhanced, even as memories fade. 1. Focus on comfort and routine. The routine is crucial for people with severe dementia. They may no longer remember the details of their day, but the familiarity of a daily rhythm, meals at the same time, naps at the same time, favorite music playing softly, provides a sense of security. Even small rituals, like a hand massage or reading their favorite book, can bring moments of calm. 2. Nonverbal communication is key. Since language can become difficult, it's important to lean on other forms of communication. A gentle touch, a smile, and eye contact can communicate love and care. A soothing voice, even if the person can't respond verbally, can help calm anxiety. Be patient with the silences and know that even without words, they feel your presence. 3. Music and memories. Music has a unique power to reach people with dementia, even in advanced stages. Playing their favorite songs or familiar tunes can evoke a strong emotional response. You might notice them tapping their feet, moving their hands, or even singing along, even if they can't remember the lyrics. These brief moments are deeply meaningful, and they allow the person to reconnect with something that is part of their identity. 4. Ensure physical comfort. In this stage, physical care becomes a significant part of daily life. From managing incontinence to ensuring proper nutrition, caregiving becomes more hands-on. It's essential to be patient and sensitive. Sometimes even small changes in their environment, like adjusting their pillow or providing extra warmth, can make a big difference in their comfort. 5. Incorporate familiar faces. Even if someone with severe dementia no longer recognizes you, it's still important to maintain connections. The familiarity of your voice, the feel of your hand in theirs, and the sense of knowing that you're there. Those are the things that matter most. Regular visits from family, even if brief, can provide comfort and reassurance. You might not get the recognition you once did, but your presence is still vital. 6. Consider palliative care. When dementia reaches this stage, it may be time to discuss palliative care options. This is a form of care focused on providing comfort and relieving symptoms rather than curative treatment. It's about ensuring that the person's last months or years are as comfortable and peaceful as possible, with minimal pain and stress. Palliative care teams can offer guidance, help with symptom management, and provide emotional and psychological support to both the patient and their loved ones. The importance of compassion and dignity. The truth is, the progression of dementia can be a long and painful goodbye, but throughout it all, dignity remains essential. The person you love is still there, even if their memory is no longer intact. Their soul, their essence, their ability to feel comfort and love, those remain. And you can still honor that. You are not alone in this. There is help, there are resources, and perhaps most importantly, there is love. Even when they no longer know your name, you can continue to give them the gift of comfort, the gift of presence, and the gift of love. And as long as you can do that, you are honoring the person they are, even in their most vulnerable moments. Moving forward, hope amidst the struggle. While the journey through severe dementia is heartbreaking, it's also one that can be filled with small moments of grace. You may not have the same conversations you once did, but you can still hold their hand, share a memory, or simply sit together in quiet companionship. In this stage, the most important thing to remember is that even in the hardest moments, there is still value in every second you share. You are still giving them the gift of your love, and that is something that will never be forgotten, even if they can no longer say your name. Now, with this understanding of severe dementia, we've come to the end of our journey through the stages. But as we reflect on these stages, it's essential to remember that the real battle is prevention. There's so much we can do right now to protect our minds, our memories, and our future. Let's take the next step forward together. Conclusion: the power of awareness and action. As we wrap up this journey through the 3 stages of dementia, I want to leave you with one powerful message. Awareness and action are your greatest tools. No matter where you are in life, no matter what changes you've started to notice, it is never too late to make a difference. Dementia may feel like an overwhelming challenge, but we are not helpless in the face of it. Yes, the road through these stages is difficult. Yes, there are times of heartache, confusion, and frustration. But there is also a tremendous amount of power in being aware and knowing that you can make choices today that will affect your tomorrow. You can recognize the whispers of mild cognitive impairment and take steps to protect your mind. You can respond with compassion, understanding, and routine during the moderate stages. And even in the toughest moments of severe dementia, you can choose to be present, offering comfort, love, and dignity. Remember Mr. John, Mrs. Linda, and Mr. Walter, people who, despite the changes in their memory, still held value, still mattered, and still deserved to be loved and cared for. They taught us that even when the mind slips away, the essence of who we are remains. And that essence deserves the same level of care and respect at every stage of life. But what about you? How can you take action today? You might not be facing dementia now, but the best time to start taking care of your brain and your body is now. The steps you take today, the lifestyle changes, the habits you form, can help you preserve your mind, your memory, and your quality of life for years to come. I urge you to start small, make one change today. Whether it's taking a brisk walk, engaging in a new hobby that challenges your brain, or simply paying attention to your diet, every small choice can have a lasting impact. And if you've already begun to notice some of the signs of cognitive decline, please, don't wait. Speak with your doctor, reach out for support, and don't be afraid to ask for help. You don't have to face this journey alone. The road ahead may not always be easy, but it is a road that can be filled with hope, love, and support. There is always something you can do to make things better, starting today. As you move forward, remember that every single moment of clarity, every step toward maintaining your health, and every moment you share with those you love is a victory. You are not just your memories, you are the love, the laughter, the connections that you create today. And as long as you keep moving forward with awareness, with compassion, and with action, you can continue to live a life full of meaning, no matter what the future holds. So take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and remember, you're not just fighting for a future without dementia. You're fighting for a future full of memories, full of love, and full of purpose. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with more insights on living a healthy, fulfilling life. And please, share this with someone you care about. We are all in this together. Stay strong, stay loving, and above all, stay aware.